Alright, for a slight change of pace on my channel, as you know, I've had this Jeep Wrangler Unlimited Sahara for about 2 months now. I've put about, I believe it's 7,000 kilometers on the Jeep, and I thought I would just do a review, an honest review. I'm not a car show that's getting sponsored by Dodge or Jeep or anything like that to review the Jeep. I just wanted to give an honest opinion about the Wrangler. If you're thinking of buying one, maybe this will help you, maybe not. Either way, I thought I'd have a little bit of fun on my channel. So, just a bit of a background history for myself. This is actually my 4th Jeep product. I've had 2 Jeep Liberties, an old Jeep Cherokee, the square body style, which is just phenomenal and bulletproof. And this is my first entry into the Wrangler. Overall, 100% satisfied with the Jeep. There are a lot of cons to owning this vehicle though, whereas myself, I knew what I was getting into with the Jeep. I know enough about vehicles. I know enough about the Wrangler itself that I knew what I was getting into. However, the average person who's never driven a Jeep before, maybe not 100% sure what to expect, I thought I'd kind of make this video for you. So, there's not a lot of cons. Well, I shouldn't say there's not a lot. The major con to owning this Jeep is if you do a lot of highway driving, this thing is brutal on the highway. It is not a nice ride whatsoever. I don't think it's ever seen the inside of a wind tunnel, and if it has, the engineers probably laughed. This thing is terrible for aerodynamics. If it's a windy day, especially with that soft top, it feels like you're driving a high-speed sailboat. You're all over the place. My main issue, and I don't know why this bugs me so much, it just does, but the hood is held down with these rubber latches. Like, this is rubber, I can pull it. This is what's holding your hood down. There is a secondary J-hook underneath, which stops it from going all the way up. But these rubber things at high speeds, you're going down the highway and this hood is shaking. And I don't know why it bugs me, it just does. And if you pass a transport, boom, up comes the hood and it's loud, and I don't know why, it irritates me. I don't know why they have these rubber things. They look cool, but at the end of the day, I'd rather my hood just stay down. I know it's minor, but it bugs me. My other major pet peeve on this Jeep is actually the engine choice for it. It is a 3.6 liter V6 Pentastar motor, and why Jeep, Dodge, Fiat, whoever made the decision to take out the bulletproof 4-liter straight 6 motor is beyond me. If this V6, this Pentastar motor, was more fuel efficient, I could understand. It's not. Which kind of brings me to my second big con on this Jeep. It is not good on gas. If you're looking for something that's going to get high miles per gallon, the Jeep is not it. Again, I knew this prior to purchasing, so the gas mileage doesn't really surprise me. My previous vehicle to this was, as you would know, the 2010 Dodge Charger with the 3.5 liter high output motor. Also, another engine that's not very good on gas. So it's not like this was a big shock, the gas mileage, but just something you might want to consider. And I think really the last con, and I don't really think it's a con, it's just kind of what happens when you do it, is when you have the doors and roof off like I do, you're done driving at the end of the day, you can see this, but dust just gets everywhere. So when you put the roof and everything back on, you're wiping down the entire interior. I know at the end of the day, I'm just nitpicking with that, and I really don't mind. I don't care. If you saw my Charger at all, the inside pictures from way back, my interior was immaculate, and it's just a weird thing I'm getting used to, is always having a dirty interior. But the pro of driving around with no roof and no doors definitely outweighs the cons on this one. And I almost forgot, actually I have one more complaint or con, however you want to say it. There's a stereo on the Jeep. Still, this is a 2014, and I still have to use a wire to attach my phone's music to play out of the stereo of the Jeep. Bluetooth has been around forever. Why? There's Bluetooth in here for hands-free calling. You can call someone through Bluetooth, but you can't play music through it. Again, I don't know why they're not with the times. I know friends with older vehicles with Bluetooth, and it's phenomenal. It's so nice. It's so easy. Again, not the end of the world. Just something, if you're big on technology, you're still plugging in the old-fashioned way with the wire. Now, having gone over those cons, at the end of the day, I love this Jeep. What other vehicle is on the market that you can make look like this in the summer? We have very short summers here in Saskatchewan, and when I bought this, it was because I wanted to enjoy every single day in the summer as much as I could. And I take the doors off and put the roof down as much as I can. There are no other vehicles like this on the market. When you drive around like this, people are looking at you. That could be a pro or a con, depending what kind of person you are. But people love looking at the Jeep like this. It is an eye-catching vehicle. It's a nice vehicle. There's nothing else like it on the market. So this is just a view from the inside. This is your dashboard setup. It's pretty. It's nice. It's functional. It does what it needs to do. The stereo is all right. It's not the best stereo I've ever had in a vehicle. You've got your 2 speakers up front, and then in the back you have the roll bar here, and your speakers are just kind of on top here. It's different, obviously, with the lack of doors. You can't really put the speaker in the door like it usually is. And then in the back in the trunk, you have this Alpine subwoofer. And when the sales lady actually pointed this out, I was pretty excited for a kicking sound system. And to be honest, it's a little disappointing, especially with the doors and roof off. I like to crank that stereo full blast, and just not the stereo power I would have thought with a vehicle that has a quote-unquote subwoofer. But since we're back here, this is your trunk space. All kinds of space. This is obviously the 4-door Jeep with the trunk. It's a big vehicle, so you have all kinds of room. Even with the top folded down, the folded down top kind of just sits up here. When you're loading things in and out of the trunk, you can just kind of lift this up if objects are bigger than the gap that's back here. Now, I know I didn't get into all the technical specs, the transmission and all that stuff. It was just a quick kind of overview of the Jeep. I actually take my Jeep off-road. We have a lot of off-roading areas in Saskatchewan, a lot of sand, and it handles itself pretty well. The suspension isn't fantastic, but I get it. Jeep designs these to be driven on the road most of the time. So on the road, the suspension's good. Off-road, there's a lot of movement, but as the Jeep gets older, we're going to be replacing with those components with more off-road friendly stuff. I get why the suspension is the way it is, but it comes as advertised. It works well off-road. For the average owner, it does exactly what it needs to do. We've taken it through mud. We've buried the Jeep in mud where it was right up to the rocker panels, and it actually does pretty good. It's got kind of a, when you take the traction control off, it doesn't have locking differentials, which I wish I did. The Rubicon does, the Sahara does not. However, it does have an electric system, and I'm not a big fan of electrical nannies, but when you get the one wheel spinning, which is what happens with open differentials, it'll actually apply the brake to that spinning wheel and trick the other side into thinking that the wheel's not spinning, and it'll actually send power to the other side. So it does pretty well in the mud for a stock SUV. I'm actually pretty impressed with it. But overall, would I suggest buying it? Absolutely. This is a fantastic vehicle. It does have its drawbacks. If you're willing to live with those drawbacks, then I highly suggest buying a Jeep Wrangler. Even if it's only once, drive it, experience it. When the doors and the roof are off, it's just a phenomenal ride. And if you like convertibles, it's just that open air feeling, and it's a lot of fun to drive. If you own a Jeep and you see another Jeep drive by, wave at them. It's called the Jeep wave. I don't know how many people I wave at and they don't wave back, and it irks me. I don't know why. And then you get true Jeepers who wave back at you. And yeah, it feels good. I don't know how to explain it. So at the end of the day, I think this Jeep's fantastic, and I highly suggest buying one. If you're planning on just driving highway and that's it, you're not much of an adventure person, and you just think, you're just buying it because it's cool, I don't think it's a vehicle for you. If you're doing most of your driving on the highway especially, it does not cruise well on the highway. Just something to keep in mind. In the city, it's fantastic. Off-road, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. My kids just love being off-road with it. It just makes memories for the family. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Just kind of my honest opinion on the Jeep. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up. If you disagree with me, hey, feel free to comment in the comment section about why you hate the Jeep. Or just maybe not hate, just anything you don't like about it. Maybe you disagree with some of the points I've made. And if you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. And we'll get more Jeep related content out there soon.